Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Ajay the African, and we are at Afristream. This is a special edition, and it's been a minute since we've been live. It's been a minute because life has been going on, and I've been working through it, trying to enjoy it. But we welcome you back. We're trying to get to back to our regular scheduled programming. Okay, getting back to our regular scheduled programming. And again, with that regular scheduled programming, we are always offering streams around the world to the diaspora. Okay, and so if you ever happen to be watching us on YouTube or Facebook, please, if you're watching us via Facebook, uh, please like, comment, share. There we go, because this is how we get everything out. This is how we connect to our people. If you're watching us on YouTube, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and a notification bell. So every time that we are live, you get to see who we are. So we're always producing content for the community to come together. Why? Because we are on our process of developing an experience that we call the Rise of the African, our social media Pan-African movement, where we're bringing black people together under one umbrella so that we can have the experience, a real experience of being a people. Okay, and so today, here at Afristream, now there have been plenty of topics to pop up on the news that caught my eye during the hiatus of my time out, my short sabbatical, we'll say. However, I wanted to deal with the issue of, or revisit the topic of East Africa. Now, revisiting the topic, one, because I don't think it has gotten as much play as it needed to have to let black people know that East Africa is now the fourth largest world power. And if you remember what we talked about in East Africa, or the topic it is, they said it's the fourth largest, but it doesn't have as much financial standing as it should, being the fourth largest in number. Not necessarily the fourth largest in the sense of economics. Now, I don't know, and that's where we're going to go. The economics that the EAC, East African Community, has fell upon in these last few months, just in these last few months, to give you an awareness of how God works, how the ancestors work when we make a decision to come together. This some news. This some news. Now, I don't know how many of y'all remember this, but do you remember the fear of the black planet? Meaning fear of a planet where, and this is my time, hip hop, EPMD, One Love, Public Enemy #1. Why? Because the world doesn't want to see a unified people. The world doesn't want to see not only just a unified people, but a self-determined people that controls all of its resources and can provide the basic necessities to life. What would be the purpose of being the fourth largest world power if you cannot sustain life? Now, of course, there is, and some people discuss it, and a lot of communities discuss it, even my community discuss the issue of the Black Power Blueprint. What is the framework of putting that together? Now, when you're dealing with, and we'll have this coming up in The African Speaks, the importance of intellectual stability, mental stability, and spiritual stability or intelligence, the depth, mental intelligence, emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence. Right? Now we're going to say if that is all sound, then what else is needed to create a black power blueprint where across the board we're seeing nations or at the motherland and everywhere else develop a sense of self-determination and self-sufficiency. And so this was popping up on my radar while I was in the sabbatical. And so you cannot have a revolution or self-determination or any sense of independence from colonialism or the mark of slavery in terms of being oppressed society, operant conditioning, being an oppressed society without economic freedom. You can't do it without economic freedom. You can't feed, clothe, and house yourself without economic freedom. Now, that's hard here in the Americas. Here, it's hard here. We're working. Now, if we don't own our own land, we're not producing our own food, we don't have our own cattle, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be virtually impossible for us to be able to be self-determined. If you cannot sit down and say, I have at least a fishing farm and I can eat fish all day, you're going to have a problem. If you don't have animals where you can create the clothes and the fabric, you're going to have a problem. Economic freedom, resource freedom. And so this is important. I know for us here, and I was going to save this for the end of it, but we'll drop it now. In the Americas, we're always trying to talk about creating multiple streams of income. Creating multiple streams of facets of income coming to your household so that you can find a sense of economic freedom. Now, economic freedom doesn't promise you human rights, equality across the globe. It doesn't. For one household to find multiple frames of income, multiple streams of income, so that one family can live decent, or that one individual or that couple, it doesn't change the world. But what is happening in East Africa, and this is happening again at the turn of 8 countries coming together. Now, I don't know how anybody else is going to see this information that we're going to drop, but when this happens, you have East Africa coming up, and all of a sudden, a whole level of resource appears. Let's take a look.
Latest African news. Uganda. Uganda announces discovery of huge gold deposits. Uganda has announced that it has struck a deposit of 31 million tons of gold ore, with extractable pure gold estimated to gross 320,000 tons. President Museveni broke news of the find in his State of the Nation address yesterday, but provided little detail, pointing in general that it would fetch the country more than $12 trillion. Technocrats in the ministry...
Stop. They just hit another gold reservoir. Now, there's a lot of discussion that the dollar, I wish I had my wallet right here sitting on my desk, is not even backed by gold anymore. Why? Because America don't produce gold. They get their gold bars from places that they control, where they can control the resources. Now, Uganda, which is a part... Wait. I gotta get ready. Uganda, which is now a part of the new African world power, Uganda, has found what they say 31 million tons of gold that will produce or yield $12 trillion. What? Did an independent, the largest African nation, jump up and find a source of economic stability for a people? This is going to change the way the world sees East Africa. Because now they're not, well, let you finish. They're not talking about giving away.
of
Switch
Energy
it.
and Mineral Development, Mr. Museveni, noted, had informed cabinet that the country was positioned to get slightly under 700 million in royalty payments, with the investors poised to cash in on the windfall. Citing 6 local gold refineries, among them Africa Gold Refinery in Entebbe, that the United States sanctioned in March over illicit sources of its gold, the president declared that the time for Uganda to ship unprocessed exports is over. The volume of the reserve is estimated at 31 million tons of gold ore, or net 320,158 tons of gold.
The time for Uganda shipping raw resources out of its country is over. They're done. You do not get to take our raw resource, manifest trillions of dollars, and then maybe give us some of your trinkets off the table from our own resource. They said it's over. And that's, they said there's 6 other gold mineries connecting with this movement, this new nation, saying, oh, nothing is, our raw resources are no longer being left. You can take what we produce from the resource. Do you understand what East Africa just walked into? Becoming a wealthy world power. Now we talk about that, the fact that I think African Americans here have a, what, we affect the economy by 7 to 12 trillion dollars, and so we could be as fruitful as possible, as profitable as Uganda can be in terms of the support of the 4th largest African world power, which is the 1st largest African power. Let's continue.
Valued at $12.8 trillion. According to a document prepared by the Line Ministry, Uganda's gold exports have been on the rise since opening the Africa Gold Refinery in Entebbe, according to official records. For instance, in 2019 and 2020, the country exported gold worth $1.9 billion to the United Arab Emirates, $1.4 billion to South Korea, and $28.7 million to Hong Kong.
So they exporting gold. Exporting gold resources, pure, to these countries for this amount. Not no more. You're going to have to come and pay for your gold. We're not giving you resources no more to produce, and then after you produce it, we get a percent of what you make off the resource you produced. No, we're going to manifest the raw resources, and you can buy our East African gold bars, and we can receive the full financial benefit of that resources coming out of our country. Is that not economic freedom for a people? Those who disconnect themselves from the motherland wake up, because the rise of the African in the continent is happening. When is the rise of the African happening within you? Now that was Uganda. Let's take another look. Wait, see, make sure that video's over.
In contrast, Uganda imported nearly $2 billion worth of gold, making it the 18th largest gold importer in the world.
18th, Uganda now the 18th largest gold importer in the world, not exporter. So they were importing stuff that they were sending out. Now, oh, we're not importing anything. We don't need to. We're going to produce it, and then you're going to purchase it. Ain't that something? What?
According to cabinet records.
Now let's take a look. And I always say, hey, if you check Ncheki, this is one of the African sites that I go to pull African news, but there's several sites around that we use here in Afristream, and so we always want to stay connected. I'm always researching things that a lot of people that are out there. There's tons of resources of information, and so we have to be ready to use multiple. What are you using the internet for? I use it to gain wisdom on how we are coming together as a people, and I present the data that helps us continue to have that rise of the African within us. Now let's take another look at another location within East Africa.
According to a United Nations report, Russia's war in Ukraine threatens more than 70% of Africa.
Okay, I don't think that was it. Let's take a look. Where's the other video? Because there was another video that we had based off of. We're going to play it this way. We're going to find it and play it this way. Is that... Let's see here. Did I grab it? Give me a hot second, because this is important. Well, what we're going to say in terms of this one, and I'll see if I can find it. And as I tell you about this, the country of the Congo had found there's a mountain in the Congo, where the mountain in the Congo, they were able, the villagers found another mountain full of gold. A mountain full of gold in the Congo. And with that mountain full of gold, the families of the villages nearby ran to this mountaintop to dig up the gold. So you will see these people in that mountaintop, and they're digging up. They got bags and bags of bags, and they're just shoveling dirt and taking the dirt home to cleanse the dirt to get the gold nuggets out of the dirt. Now, when you're living in a country where you can walk to a mountain to find gold, what? That happened here. You know how everybody back in the Manifest Destiny and everybody running to the west to populate the west, and they were going to California because there are golds in them dar hills, is what was being said, right? There are gold in them dar hills, and so you get the gold in them hills, and you see what happens. You know, you have people coming out, and right now I found the video. Y'all give me a hot second, and I appreciate your patience, because we want to take a look at this, because this is not something that's just happening in one location of the East African diaspora. This is something that's happening in two areas of the diaspora, or of East Africa. So I found a video. Let's go to the next video. Appreciate your patience.
A viral video shows locals flocking a mountain in Congo and digging using shovels, other tools, and even bare hands on the mountain because it was found to have gold ores.
Now, of course, you're going to see white folks in Africa digging the gold, right? That's, you know, you got the colonizers out there. However, it wasn't the colonizers that dominated the mountain. Let's continue.
The video is from the Democratic Republic of the Congo of Africa.
Now, looking at this, you know, at this particular point, if you can see the beginning of the Congo, which is at one point of the coast, and it stretches over, you see where the highlighted thing. Now, East Africa covers all of the middle area. So East Africa now is all those countries are now one country. The Congo just signed a few months ago, just signed a contract connecting it. White folks are still reporting this news as though that this is not one nation. That's a problem, because they're still not letting you understand how powerful this particular nation is becoming overnight. They're finding new reservoirs of gold in Uganda, now in the Congo, in one country, which is that East African community. And so they're sitting now on what we call an opportunity for a black power blueprint, becoming solely economically independent when it comes to gold, being able to have these resources coming out so that they can sell to other countries and reap the benefits. Let's continue.
After news of gold being excavated from the mountain of Congo was spread in the area, thousands of people rushed to the mountain and started this treasure hunt.
Now it says thousand. They're going to show you the people in the community up there. So can you imagine living in a country? This is why they can't allow Africa to be independent from Europeans because of the resources within the country. This is the only continent on the earth that could feed everybody, and there'd be no hunger anywhere. And they still have resources. They can feed the whole continent, the world, and still have leftover. Why wouldn't you allow the rise of a black nation with power? Because then we become the top of the totem pole. That's the true fear of the Black Panther. Not because we're violent, not because we're angry, but because we know how to live as community. Let's continue. Wait.
This video was shared on Twitter by a user named Ahmed Al-Gobri. A video from the Republic of the Congo documents the biggest surprise for some villagers in this country, as an entire mountain filled with gold was discovered. They dig the soil inside the gold deposits and take them to their homes in order to wash the dirt and extract the gold, wrote Ahmed while sharing the video.
So this brother is having a video, and and I can say he might be from the Congo. They there digging dirt, taking bags, taking it home, washing it out. Now we need to get this processed because now we have wealth. We have wealth, and so that's that ATM money grab. And so look at what's happening, and I say this. Uganda, the Congo, Rwanda, Tanzania, Kenya, and there's another one in East African, the EAC, all became unified. All made a decision to put their issues aside and said we need to begin to be self-determined in at least this part of Africa. We're no longer going to fight each other over boundaries of lines. Why? Because we didn't separate ourselves. The colonizers came in and drew lines and separated communities, states, and people. And when the colonizers were gone, certain areas wanted the land back. And so that's where the internal wars started. This belonged to us. Well, this belonged to us. This belonged to us. Now you're fighting to control that area. Tribal fights. And everybody had right to the land. Now this is the same beef that Russia has with Ukraine. You used to be a part of Russia. You used to be down. Now you're trying to become a NATO and you're going to separate. No, we're going to fight. Russia could learn something here. Ukraine could learn something here. Stop going to war and unify your differences. This is what East Africa has done. And in that space, I say the ancestors are responding. The ancestors are saying, we appreciate you finally coming to your senses. And now we're going to give you your first access of a new resource that you can control. So the same way Uganda said that we are no longer processing, we're no longer sending away raw resources, so is the Congo. Let's continue.
In another video shared by Al-Gobri, locals can be seen washing the dirt off the gold and extracting the precious metal in containers.
Can you believe that? That's just got a bucket. Can you believe that? Living in a continent so rich and now having access, if they can get to the internet, you can sell gold nuggets to whoever you want to sell gold nuggets to if that's the case. But before this becomes institutionalized, now you have individuals being able to come up. I can't go outside my house and dig up anything. And so we as here don't want to connect to home, don't want to connect to that resource. Now for us, the biggest resource that we have here is each other. We're the biggest resources. We're the gold, we're the diamonds, we're the oil, we as a people. So coming together as a people, we manifest that resource of who we are as a people. Why? Because without it, we will never find economic freedom. We will never be independent. We never be self-determined. Now we have economic economic teams popping up to purchase land. And it has to be going beyond your personal sense of financial success or wealth. That's why you have individuals fighting for these multiple streams. Worlds of Akibaland seeks to be one of those communities that unifies individuals for the sake of bringing together resources for self-determination. Let's continue.
The country authorities had to impose a ban on mining activities in the village to stop the crazy gold rush in their country.
Can you imagine finding that? And I told you, so the community ran up there to get it before it becomes communalized. Meaning that the government is going to control it, the government is going to process it, but then what you have to understand is life and EAC, the East African community, is going to completely change. Y'all watching these next 10 to 20 years, what you see coming out of East Africa. You think Ghana doing something? Ghana's trying to do something on its own. Ghana doesn't have, you can't, they're not going to be able to compete with this. Other countries in the continent of Africa are going to have to make the decision and even contemplate the thought of what it means to unify and pull together the raw resources to be who we are called to be as a people. And we're going to watch the Africans inside the African rise. Look at this. All over the mountain. The Black Power Blueprint. We need emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, and mental intelligence to take a look at the resources that we have in this country. It's got to be our youth. It's got to be our intellect and our brains. When they call for engineers, we have to say we have been educated in the American institutions and we know how to engineer. We know technology. We know science. We know the arts and agriculture. We know mathematics. Either we produce what we produce here, or we produce what we produce there. Either way, economic freedom is needed for us to see a better way. And with that, again, you understand why they fear us coming together. And if we can look at each other as the gold in the States, then we will be on the news just like they were on the news talking about they have found an unexhaustible resource of gold. And that is the unification of the minds, bodies, and spirits of the people. And anything that we have economically, we use for self-determination, for the rise of the African in us. Hopefully, you've enjoyed this segment of Afristream. And if you have, please like, comment, share. Tell a friend. Have a blessed evening.